Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a DIY Dollar Tree monogram jewelry box for $5 or less. We're going to use one box dart and one glass covered box dart that are the same size. We're also going to use some black foam board. I just happen to have it. You could use cardboard or whatever you have laying around. We're going to use these letters for the monogram, but you guys, again, if you have a Cricut, you like letters, different letters better, you go for it. You're going to need a scraper. I like these scrapers. They're for $1 from the Dollar Tree. And then some fabric of your choice. I'm just use this pillowcase from the Dollar Tree. I really like this fabric. Then if you want to paint your box, then go ahead and do the paint of your choice. I got the Crayola paint from the Dollar Tree. The other stuff's from Walmart. And then ribbon of your choice to make the hinge, or you could use electrical tape. Both of these can be found at the Dollar Tree. All right, and then of course you want to use a glue gun and a scissor, and we're going to need an X-Acto knife to cut the foam board. So as you see here, the box dart and the glass box dart are approximately the same size. They are just like a couple of centimeters different in size, but we're going to work with that. So this particular box art that fixed this particular glass art had a medallion on it. I just ripped that medallion off, soaked the cardboard in a little bit of a baby wipe, and then I took a gift card and scrape that away. That isn't necessary, that's the underside, but I just wanted to make it look a little bit more finished. I removed the hanger but left the corner braces. Now I just wanted to make sure it was nice and smooth back there, and then I'm going to throw a coat of paint on it. This is folk art paint in flat black. I was gifted, so I'm so happy you guys really have reached out to me and have just blessed me with all of these great supplies so I can bring you all of these great DIYs. Thank you so much for all of your support. Now I'm painting the whole outside and the inside walls, including the inside corner brackets, and I'm going about a ½ inch in because we're gonna make a false bottom out of the fabric, so you don't have to paint the whole inside of the bottom because it's going to get covered. But if you want to skip the fabric detail altogether, maybe you're making this for your dad or grandpa and he is just a plain black kind of guy, you can go ahead and paint the inside of your box as well. Okay, so I am just trying to get a really nice good coat. I only needed one coat from this particular paint, which was really nice. I'm not exactly sure how much it is, but I tell you it's definitely worth it because it gave me great coverage. Now, I did that first so it can dry, and now it's off to the races. So I tell you something really funny. We're going to scrape the art off of the inside of this board, and as I start to scrape, I will show you that I don't know if the factory messed up or if the inside sticker got messed up and they repaired it on the outside, but part of this word, and you'll see because it gets left behind, is on the outside. Do you see the bottom of that L or P or Y or whatever it is down there? That is actually on the front side of the box, so I have to turn it over and scrape the front side. I just thought that was uniquely odd. So you just want to go back and forth. You want to scrape both sides until you get all of the previous letter erased, the previous words erased. I'm using just a baby wipe, thanks to my friend Melody who sent me baby wipes for my craft room. I never would have thought of it. Just going to repeat this on the inside and the outside until we get all of the previous print gone. Okay. Now you can take window cleaner if you want to just really get it nice and clean, but we're not going to worry about that too much. We don't have kids. It's just Jim. He's just going to display watches in it. But if you really want to let your stickers really adhere really well, you can go ahead and clean it with window cleaner. All right, and we're going to remove the sticker, and then we're going to create a mat. I like to be able to see in the jewelry box, so initially I was kind of like, I'll use the letters as masking and I'll create a circle out of the masking, so that basically it would have been a black circle with clear letters with a clear border. But then I realized you really wouldn't be able to see what was inside it as well, so I went ahead and I switched it up. But I just put Jim's initials here. You can go ahead and draw a straight line. If you have any difficulties lining stuff up, I would use a dry erase marker on the inside to use as a straight line just with a ruler so that you could get a perfectly straight line. But again, it's for Jim. Jim doesn't like to be perfect. He tries. He doesn't expect me to be perfect. So I definitely don't expect that of his jewelry box. Now, I didn't do good planning with his initials. I did start with the center initial. However, the D and the H on these particular stickers were a lot wider than the J. So keep that in mind when you're planning out your monogram, that whatever letters you have to use, make sure that you actually know how big they are and where to place them. Now, I did find that 3 letters was the, this bucket from the Dollar Tree happened to be this perfect size circle for the 3 letters, to go around the 3 letters. So I took the piece of contact paper, this is clear contact paper we're going to use for masking, and I just made sure I measured evenly on all sides of the circle, just to make sure it was placed directly in the center. And then I realized I don't think that I'm going to use the masking, but you'll see. I start to cut it out, and then I couldn't decide if like I said, I was going to use the outside portion for the masking and to paint the circle. But then I decided, kind of after I cut it, that I was going to go ahead and do it the other way. So you'll see, either way will work. I kind of will give you a little idea when I show you both. So that's what it would look like, and that's what it would look like if you painted the circle, and this is what it would look like if you're going to paint and leave the circle clear. So now I've turned it on the inside because I want to paint the trim on the inside. It's nicer that way. It gives better dimension. Plus, you don't have to worry about being so neat on the frame because it's on the inside of the box. Nearly nobody's going to notice it. So once I have it laid down, I went ahead and I made sure I scraped it with my wonderful expired gift cards, and then I went ahead and I added the paint. First I did a layer back and forth, and you can kind of see there for a second that you can see how it's streaky. So what I decided to do then was to pounce it like a stencil. This will also help keep the bleeding from going under the contact paper as well, but it also gives like a better coat. So what I did was I painted in one direction, then the other, and then I went back and I stippled, and I held it up to the light, as you can see that I'm doing here, and that really did help me to get good coverage and to find all of my holidays. Now, if you guys have been around for a while, you know I love to remove the masking when stuff is still wet. Of course, you want to be careful. I'm just using the tip of a scissor, and I did drag a little paint in the circle, so I'm just going to go take my finger and just clean it right off while it's still wet, and then set it off to dry. Okay? And now we're going to work on the inside. Now, this is probably the hardest part. I'm not kidding. It really is. The hardest part is making a piece of foam board to fit the inside of this box. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to touch up the paint. But the hardest part is probably measuring the foam board to fit inside this box. You just have to trim it down a little at a time. So what I like to do is I like to trace out the outside of the box, but then I'm going to cut inside the lines. If you'll see here, I'm using a white chalk marker so you guys can see it on the camera. But you guys do whatever you want at home. And then, of course, painting the chalk off. But then I'm going to take my utility knife, which I love, and my metal ruler. And I'm going to make sure I get straight lines. And it's really ironic that I did straight lines because afterwards I noticed that the inside of the box was kind of bowed. And I have to trim away, make them unstraight lines. But you'll see that in a second. So at first we want to dry fit, and we realize it's way too big. So we're going to go ahead and trim it down. I'm going to finally measure, which I could have done in the first place. I'm going to measure the box and find out that the inside dimensions are about 7 3/4 inches on this particular box. And then I'm going to go transfer them to the board, and it's 7 3/4 inches square. But I'm not giving you dimensions on this because every box art is different. So you want to make sure that you customize it to fit the box art that fits the glass frame that you're using. Okay? And then once you have all of basically the edges trimmed up, you want to go ahead and dry fit it again. You'll see it's a process. This is, like I said, this is the longest part of this whole project, and it is actually the hardest part of this whole project. And it's not even hard, as you can see. So now I've gone ahead and cut off the corners, and now I'm seeing that this is where I'm noticing that the insides of the sides of the box are bowed in a little bit. So you just want to go ahead and trim to fit as necessary. A good tip would have been to do this before I painted. If I would have taken, because this is black foam board, if I would have taken chalk and rubbed it along all four edges and then laid the board down, I would have had an exact impression of the inside of the box. Of course, without the corners taken out. But it's not hard to go ahead and do a little at a time. As you see, it finally fits. And now we're going to cover it with fabric. This pillowcase, by the way, I have to tell you, I really thought it was going to be like that shiny nylon that all the pillowcases are out of. It's not. I mean, I'm not saying it's not polyester, but it feels like more like a cotton than a satin, if that makes any sense to you guys. So you want to make sure you cut your piece big enough. As you can see here, I did not. I like to leave my mistakes on here for you guys so that you can see it's not the end of the world. Everybody makes mistakes. So I just cut a bigger piece. I do like these pillowcases for covering throw pillows in my living room. So I made sure that I cut the piece off of the, not the seam side, basically, off the top, the pocket side of the pillowcase. All right. And this one happens to be, has a right side to its fabric. So I wanted to make sure that I put that on the outside as well. So we've wrapped stuff before, but if you want to know, we just start with one side. Always do the corresponding side. Then you want to do the third side, basically the first perpendicular side. And when you do the last side, you want to pull, this is where you want to pull your fabric tight so it's no wrinkles in it. And because the corners are cut off, the corners are super easy. You just put a little dab of glue, pull the corners, and then that's perfect. And as you can see there, it fits in snug as a bug in a rug. Now you want to take your box and you want to decide which of the bottom part is going to be the top, the bottom, or otherwise. Yeah, this box doesn't line up exactly perfect. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have it be perfectly lined up in the front where the clasp would be if it had a clasp. So in the back, I'm taking a piece of this grosgrain ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I've just put glue on both sides of the box and I've laid a piece of the ribbon down. You can see I overflowed and I rubbed it with my finger, but we'll clean that up in a little bit. And then just pull back the ribbon, add more glue. You want to basically add glue to both boxes and cover it with the ribbon, and that's going to create your hinge. Then you're going to trim on both sides. Now you'll open it up completely flat and repeat the process. I really just put the satin ribbon on the inside of the glass portion and it kind of covered the other portion, but you can go ahead and you can create the hinge with using both pieces of ribbon. It would just add a little strength to it. Okay? And a tip would be not to glue all the way to the end until after you cut it. Okay? And that's it. I told you it was super easy, but does that look like $1 million? Holy cow. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed this tutorial. I'm telling you, I'm blown away, and I'm not trying to brag. I cannot believe how gorgeous it is. If you have any questions at all, leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share with friends and family, anybody you know who needs to make a beautiful gift for a loved one or for themselves for $5 or less, depending if you might have fabric already and you might have cardboard, who knows. And as always, you guys take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.